Hey everyone, welcome back to our series on the Polish September Campaign of 1939. Today, in part 4, we're diving into a story of broken promises and a two-front war that sealed Poland's fate. It's a tale of betrayal, not just from one enemy, but from supposed allies and a second, unexpected aggressor. So, where did we leave off? Germany had invaded Poland on September 1st. It wasn't until September 3rd that the United Kingdom and France finally declared war on Germany, realizing that Hitler couldn't be appeased. Poland had treaties with both nations, pacts that promised military assistance. The Polish people and their army were counting on this support, hoping for a second front to open in the west, which would relieve the immense pressure they were under. But this crucial help never came. On September 12th, a secret meeting took place in the French town of Abbeville. The prime ministers of Britain and France made a fateful decision. They would not launch a major military offensive against the Third Reich. And the most shocking part, they didn't even tell the Polish government. Poland was left to fight alone, completely in the dark about its allies' decision. This period became known as the Phoney War, or the Strange War. Hitler had gambled that the West would not intervene, and he was right. Germany had left its western border relatively undefended. The French army had an overwhelming advantage, something like 80 times more tanks than the German forces stationed there. Imagine what a full-scale French assault could have accomplished. Instead, their actions were limited to dropping propaganda leaflets over Germany and making a few minor advances into border villages. The Western powers stood by as Poland bled, while the Polish army was desperately fighting the German Wehrmacht in the west. A new nightmare unfolded in the east. On September 17, 1939, without any declaration of war, the Soviet Red Army swarmed across Poland's entire eastern frontier. This was a blatant act of aggression and a shocking betrayal. The Soviet Union and Poland had a Non-Aggression Pact, signed in 1932 and extended in 1934, which was supposed to be valid until 1945. The Soviets simply tore it up. What was their justification? They claimed that the Polish state had collapsed and its government had ceased to exist, so they were simply moving in to protect the Ukrainian and Belarusian populations. This was, of course, a flimsy pretext. The Polish government was still functioning, and the army was still fighting fiercely. This invasion was the secret part of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, the deal between Hitler and Stalin to carve up Poland and other parts of Eastern Europe between them. The president of Poland condemned the Soviet invasion in a powerful speech, but he made a difficult choice. He did not formally declare a state of war with the Soviet Union. The strategic situation was hopeless. The supreme commander of the Polish army, Marshal Edward Zbigniew, issued a devastating order. Polish troops were to avoid fighting the Red Army wherever possible, and instead try to break through to the borders of neutral. Romania and Hungary, hoping to regroup and continue the fight from abroad, faced with an impossible two-front war and the imminent collapse of the state. The president, the government, and the high command made the painful decision to evacuate to Romania. The goal for the civilian authorities was to preserve the legal continuity of the Polish state. They planned to form a government in exile and continue the struggle alongside the Allies. This decision was crucial and ultimately allowed Poland to remain a belligerent on the Allied side throughout the war. However, the image of the military commander, Marshal Zbigniew, abandoning his fighting troops, caused widespread anger and a sense of betrayal among the Polish people and the soldiers left behind. It was a controversy that would linger for decades. The escape didn't go as planned. Poland had agreements with Romania that should have allowed them safe passage to France, but under pressure from Germany and the Soviet Union, the Romanian government interned the entire Polish leadership, both civilian and military, as soon as they crossed the border. The plan to quickly re-establish the government in Paris was delayed, though eventually a new government in exile was formed. Back in Poland, the few remaining units of the Border Protection Corps, or KIP, were stretched thin along the 1,300-kilometer eastern border. These brave soldiers were the first to face the Red Army's onslaught. Despite being outnumbered and caught by surprise, they put up a fight. A KOP group, led by General Wilhelm Orlik, Ruckman even managed to inflict a defeat on the Soviets at the Battle of Shak, before turning their attention back to the Germans. The city of Grodno became a symbol of heroic resistance. For 3 days, soldiers, supported by local civilians, including school children and university students, defended their city against the invading Red Army. It was a desperate, courageous last stand. By the end of September, the Soviets had gained control over all of Poland's eastern provinces, and with their occupation came brutality. The Soviets committed numerous war crimes, particularly against captured soldiers. In Grodno after the city fell, they executed a group of Polish prisoners of war who had defended it. In a hospital in Melniki, they murdered wounded Polish soldiers and officers from the KOP units. Near Mokrani, a group of captured officers from the Pisk flotilla was handed over to a local pro-Soviet militia and brutally executed. This was not a liberation, as Soviet propaganda claimed. It was a brutal conquest, marked by violence and terror that mirrored the horrors being inflicted by the Nazis in the West. For Poland, September 1939 was not just a military defeat. It was the beginning of a double occupation, a tragedy that would define the nation's experience for the next 6 years and leave scars for generations to come. The Polish September campaign was over, but the fight for Poland was just beginning. Thank you so much for watching this part of our series. It's a difficult but important chapter in history to understand. If you found this informative, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more. We'll continue to explore the consequences of these events in our next video. See you then.